Good evening, America. Yep, I did it again. No warning whatsoever. And folks, those of you that follow the page, those of you that are on the Biker Wisdom and Thoughts page, you're just going to have to get used to that. I'm going to do these as I can, but I'm going to be doing a lot more of them. There's just too much going on not to, and it is entirely too consequential not to. But I'm not going to be able to give you a lot of warning because I have a tremendous amount of other things going on. I'm probably going to start this one talking about those because many of you have helped, many of you have seen what's going on, and many of you may wonder. Most of you know that I am a community activist and community advocate. I am part of the executive committee of the Van Buren County Democratic Party. I do a lot of work that way, but I also do a lot of work just helping as I can. We have a guy up here that does a dog rescue that I try to help out as much as I can. Many community foundations and organizations, and I will make leather pieces for them, and I will donate them to them and for their auctions and that sort of thing. So a lot of community work. But my latest thing has been helping my next door neighbor. And just long story short, Philip has diabetes. He, or if we go to the Wilford Brimley, diabetes. But he has diabetes, and he ended up with an infection about a year ago, lost his most of his right leg to that. It transferred to his left leg, and he lost his left leg pretty close to up to the knee. And not long after that, his wife left him with 2 teenage boys. And I wish that was all she left him with. She also left him with, on and off, her 2 crackhead sisters. That's the best I can put it. And they used and abused and stole from him. They left the house a mess. Trash built up on the front porch, literally from the floor to the ceiling, just bags and bags of trash, which started to draw rats and started to roaches and everything else. Things like that don't really give a shit about staying in one place, so I'm not going to say that it wasn't without self-interest, because they would gladly move over to my place too. And we were starting to have to fight things back. At the same time, his yard was becoming totally overgrown, and that was when I stepped in and said, I've got to do something. And so I took on his yard first with some help from another guy up here, by the way, who happens to be a Republican, a moderate, middle of the road, but still conservative Republican. Helped me with that, doing the bush hogging. And then from there, I was able to get everything in hand, including a big pile of trash that was in the middle of the yard that had drawn rats. I know this because I drove into it with my front loader on my tractor to get some of the stuff after we had bagged everything up out of there. And that's when the rats scurried. Again, the crackhead sister decided somehow that burning the trash out there was going to work, and most of it was cans. I hate to tell you this, cans are a real good place for rats to live, and they don't burn well. So that's been cleaned up. The yard is in good stead. We've gotten the trash hauled away. That's a good thing. We raised enough money to have a professional cleaner come in and actually clean the house and make it livable. Thank God she happened to be a home health care worker as well as doing professional cleaning services. Because Philip had a bad day where he was in a whole lot of pain, and she recognized what was going on. And what was going on was a kidney infection. Here's the ex-wife, good for her. Was a kidney infection and bladder infection, as well as gallstones. His pancreas was enlarged, and kidney stones. They rushed him to the hospital. They transferred him from the local hospital to a Nashville hospital, where he is now. Today, they removed his gallbladder. That's taken care of. They've been pumping him full of IV antibiotics. That's taking care of the infections. It looks like things are going well there. His pancreas the swelling has gone down some. Another good thing. So things are moving along. I've gotten enough help. The other bad thing. One of the crackhead sisters stole the only car that he and the two teenage boys had and overheated it and parked it in a town about 20 miles from here in rural Tennessee, where, by the way, she is now sitting in jail in the Bledsoe County Jail for drug charges, serious ones. But I am a person of deductive reasoning, and I was able to find the car. Took me a little bit, but I found the car, and then with the help of the Bledsoe County Sheriff's Department, was able to find the keys. Today, the car made it back up here. It's sitting outside of my house. I've got to find out what's wrong with it. I am still going to need some help with all of that. I've had a tremendous amount of help from the community, from some of you. There's still going to be the need for more because I know that there's a couple of $100 worth of repair that's going to have to happen with this car. But that is occurring. So that's where I've been. That's what's got me so busy and will continue to hold me busy. So I will do these as I can. That's that news. Let's move on to other news. Kamala Harris now has enough delegate votes to be the nominee for President of the United States. That's official. So that will be happening. She will be our candidate. We already have good news on that point. First of all, she set a record. $84 million in 24 hours in fundraising. That's pretty cool. Let's go a step beyond that. She also, today, in a Reuters, and if you guys don't understand that Reuters is one of the most trustworthy news sources in the world, you don't know news. A Reuters Ipsos poll today showed her leading Trump by 2 points. That's in, what is it now, 48 hours, 72 hours? She's now ahead of Trump in their poll. And I think you're going to see her ahead of Trump in a lot of other polls. And good. That means we can win. People, this is what I talked about, was it yesterday? The day before? I don't remember. But this is what I talked about. We can win this. We can win this if we galvanize and stand together. We can make sure that Project 2025, which people on the right are trying to claim, oh, it's not so bad. It's not the things they're saying. Read the fucking thing. Read it top to bottom. Read it a few times. Yes, it is that bad. They don't want a complete and total abortion ban. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You're just parsing the language a little differently and putting your spin on it to say they don't. Ladies, this is all about putting you in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. That's what they want. They want to go back to a world where you are subjugated as a gender. And I'm not going to allow that, and you shouldn't allow that. And I think you won't. And I'm saying that because I've seen the groundswell that has occurred in just a couple of days. This is the candidate we want. Great. Perfect. We have choices to make, though. A lot of this is going to hinge on her running mate. I have opinions on that. Some people have said, Hillary Clinton? No, not Hillary Clinton. Folks, the right hates Hillary Clinton more than they hate Kamala Harris. And that includes some of the suburban housewives. Those are the votes we need. We need people of color. We need women, specifically. What is? Ex-wife next door now pulling out. I've got a great alarm system. But, hey, it's all right. Knock it off. Rachel, Rachel, I know what it is, son. All those security cameras I have around the house, I can see it very clearly on those. I can see it very clearly out my window. So, by the way, we're protected. Anyway, Hillary Clinton is hated by entirely too much of the country to be a viable choice. She will drag Kamala down as much as she would have made a great president. That is not baggage she needs. She's got enough baggage right now from having been Joe Biden's president. Remember how much they hate Joe Biden. They are going to try to tag her with everything that was ever done in the administration. They're already beating her up on the border because she was supposed to be the border czar. I hate to tell you this, guys. There's a reality there. The vice president does not get to make executive orders. The vice president does not get to make legislation. The vice president does not get to tell the border people what they must do. So having her as the border czar, she was a good choice for that because she's a great organizer, because she's a great communicator. But there was nothing she could do with the likes of MAGA Mike Johnson saying, oh, that's exactly what we want as far as a border bill. But no, but Donald said we can't have that. So that's going to have to wait. I hate to tell you this, people on the right, the shit you got in that bill, how many things we acquiesced on, how many things were given up saying, okay, we will put in the strictest border reform bill we've ever done in over 50 years. You're not going to get some of those conciliations. They're just not going to happen this time. So you had your chance, and like everything else the Republican Party does, or at least the MAGA part of the Republican Party does, you fucked it up. That's not on us. That's on you, and it's damn sure not on Kamala Harris. But even that, in the administration, they're trying to blame on her. That's the spin. That's the kind of shit they like to tell each other. Go ahead. Get in your fucking echo chamber and do that. Scream it as loud as you want. I'm not listening. The country's not listening. Because you know what the country's listening to right now? Kamala Harris, in a couple of days, has already surpassed your boy in a very, very accurate poll. Sorry. Boo-hoo. Poor you. Fuck you. Going beyond that, Hillary's not a good choice. A lot of people are looking at Pete Buttigieg. I would have accepted Pete Buttigieg as the president. I still would. But as far as a choice for a running mate right now, I don't think, again, that that's the best choice. We have a woman of color. For many of us, that's a plus. That's all a plus. For a lot of the far right, that is not. If you combine that with an openly gay man as her running mate, that's again going to hurt us. I don't think that that's going to be the right way to go. So as much as he'd make a great vice president. He'd make a great damned anything he does. I don't see that as any of the people that will help us. I do, however, see Andy Beshear as a very good choice. Andy, governor of Kentucky, and he beat the hell out of the candidates that Donald Trump put up against him. He's very disciplined. He's a rat terrier. He doesn't back off of stuff, and he won his re-election, defeating the attorney general in the very last election they had. And that is because his thing is to focus on everyday people. It's kind of a common element here in Tennessee. It's a common element in Kentucky. So I see him, especially with his focus on education and healthcare, as being a pretty damn good choice. He's also someone who strongly supports women's rights to bodily autonomy. And I don't care what you say, That is an important issue in this election. That is one of the most important issues in this election. Going beyond him, I see Roy Cooper as another good possible candidate. He served in the legislature for 20 years now and has beaten back Republican challengers time after time after time. His job approval ratings as governor are pretty good. And that part of that is because the economy right now in North Carolina is going gangbusters, kind of like the economy in the United States. They're doing very well. So, and he wanted to expand Medicaid. There are a lot of other things that make him a good choice. He's also a relatively skilled orator. One that I will probably say is my personal favorite of the picks is Mark Kelly, Arizona senator right now, husband of Gabby Gifford, was an astronaut. I mean, that's a winning thing right there. The guy's a fucking astronaut. You don't just get to be an astronaut. He finished out John McCain's term. He won that one, and his polling has been great. Beating Biden's most of the time. And in the Senate, his big thing has been national security, taking care of the military. He was a part of the team that crafted the CHIPS Act, and he's just one of those guys that carries himself in the manner that he should. I think he'd be a great choice. The next one is Josh Shapiro. I think of him as a good choice, but I don't think he's as strong as the other three. Name recognition is a part of it. He is one of the strongest supporters of Joe Biden. I kind of wonder if that might be a thing that bites him. So Josh is a great man, but I'm not sure he's the right guy for the job. Those are pretty much the ones I think that we might see become the vice presidential candidate. Now, let's put another thing out there. I can guarantee you that when it comes time for the vice presidential debate, any one of those four will mop the floor with J.D. Vance. Have you heard him speak? Have you heard what his thoughts and ideals are? Do you understand what a misogynistic pig he is? Do you understand that most of his claims about being this rural Appalachian, that's bullshit. It's utter bullshit. He came from a middle-class family. He got scholarships and went to Yale. I'm not saying he had it all handed to him, but I'm also not saying that he worked as hard as some of the other people we're talking about here. Not even close. And he doesn't have the mental acuity to go up against any of those four that I just mentioned. So that's going to be an important choice. I think it has to be a candidate that strongly backs the things that we as Blue Dots stand for, because we're in for the fight of our lives with this. You have to remember that we're going into this at a deficit. We've got to make up that ground first, and then we've got to gain ground. And finally, when the time comes, you've got to get so fired up that nothing, including taking a piss, is more important than going to the polls and voting blue. Have to have it happen. I'm trying to read a comment here. Go find a couch. That's funny. But that's the things that I'm looking at right now. What I am also looking at is one of the finest candidates we've had for a long time. I stated this the other day, and I will state it again. back in 2019, back when we were doing the debates for the Democratic nomination for president, one of the people on my short list at that time was Kamala Harris. You can go back to my lives and saying, I'm pretty impressed with her. Unfortunately, she foundered terribly in the polls and decided to withdraw pretty early. I wish she'd have stuck it out, but Joe Biden made the right choice. He found a vice president that could seriously do the job and do it in a manner with some integrity and the same ideals as he held, and push back when he needed to be pushed back against. That's what we need for a president. Beyond that, the fact that she is a woman, that she is a woman of color. And we've already started with the birther bullshit, the same thing that they tried to throw at Barack Obama. They've already started claiming, oh, she wasn't born here. Yes, she was. It's very, very clear and easy to find out. Yes, she was. She's also incredibly intelligent, articulate, and one of the big things that I really like about her is how she was as a prosecutor. She stayed within the limits of what she could do. There are people that will argue that. There are people that said that, oh, well, there were people she could have let out of jail, but she wouldn't. She refused to. It's not exactly the way it went down, and if you don't understand the treacherous waters she was swimming in, then you need to dig deeper and really look at who she was. They're also, some of the best they're coming up with is pointing out her relationship with Montel Williams, her relationship with this one or that one, claiming that she screwed her way to the top. No, she didn't. She's a woman. She had a sex life. Period. End of sentence. Any of that beyond there, aside from her public work, is none of your fucking business. I don't give a shit who she slept with. I don't give a shit what relationships she had and who they were with. That's meaningless to me, and it should be meaningless to you. So, we have a job ahead of us. We have a tough job ahead of us. But I explained to you just a little bit at the start of this what I was facing next door. I've got it in hand. I've got things moving with the help of a lot of other people, all of whom right now, thank you so much. You did so much there. But we've got it in hand. Monumental task. We've got it in hand. Philip is getting better. He'll be home eventually. And he's going to come home to a clean house without a bunch of trash and a vehicle that his son can drive him around with. Monumental task. But we did it. We've got that ahead of us now. We can do it. We can do it if you get off your ass and get out there and speak the truth. Get out there and make sure that you go and vote and see if you can't find 3 or 4 more Democrats to go with you. We need to flood that damn place. We need the blue tsunami we've been hoping for. Now's the time to look for it. That's on you, people. We can make this happen. But you just can't sit back and wait. You can't sit back and hold your personal preferences. You might like the idea of Hillary as vice president. You might like the idea of Pete Buttigieg as president. I don't got a problem with either one of those as far as people. But we need to think about winning. And winning is going to require a vice presidential candidate that the country can get behind. Especially after we win. Because we will win if you do your job. Then we need to get the country to realize we really are getting better. We really are doing a better job. This really is a great place. It doesn't need to be made great again. It's great now. You're great now. Let's make this happen, people. Now, anybody that wants to help out with what's going on with Philip over there, my Venmo and my PayPal are available for that. I will, if you give me a message, I will give you that information. I will also tell you that I am using that to put it into the funds of the Little Free Pantry, and that who has been pretty much sponsoring all of this. We have 2 treasurers living in different households, both of whom I will give statements from those accounts so they can see exactly who has done what and for what. So if you want to help that way, please do. More than anything else, though, help this way. Work to get Kamala Harris as our next president. We need her. I love you, America. Share this shit.